Today I'm going to address someone, and that someone is making a point about something, and that someone is real, but that something is a concept. And it's a concept created to basically tell people that men are bad. Not all men, but most of them, because of this concept. The concept is called toxic masculinity. Apparently, men all have masculinity, but most men have toxic masculinity. It's a masculinity apparently that's going to go over the top and therefore makes you a bad person. And the person who's explaining this to us has himself had a meme made because of his stupidity. So yes, I'm going to respond to the movie made by Macintosh about toxic masculinity. Criticism, as always, is more than welcome.
During your travels around the internet, you may have bumped into the term toxic masculinity.
Yeah, there are plenty of things you can come across when you cross the interwebs. I mean, flat earth society thingies, people believing that there's a second sun, you just can't see it, chemtrails, flying teapot around the sun. I really like that one. Good luck disproving that one. Any kind of religion, to be honest. All of them, actually. Oh, and there is this thing called going full Macintosh. Know where that comes from, by the way, Mr. Macintosh. Any idea?
It usually shows up in connection with particularly abusive male behavior, so things like harassment, homophobia, sexism, or violent outbursts.
Or, in all fairness, nearly anything and everything feminists complain about when it comes to boys or men. It doesn't really have to make sense. They can just drop toxic masculinity in there whenever they want to.
But what does it really mean?
You're fucking a white male!
Yeah, that's about what it means.
Well, let's find out.
Yeah, I guess we're going to learn your made-up version of toxic masculinity. But please, enlighten us. Go full Macintosh.
Now, since there tends to be so much confusion and defensiveness surrounding these two words, I think we might need to start off with a really clear example. Something that we can all agree on.
Yep. Anything a feminist doesn't agree with is toxic masculinity. Therefore, Donald Trump must be toxic masculinity in persona, no?
Okay, yeah. But honestly, I think he needs his own video, so maybe something else would...
What do you think you're doing?
Okay, that's gonna work.
Well, whether you politically believe in Trump or not is absolutely bullshit. It doesn't make a difference anyway. It has nothing to do with toxic masculinity. It's about politics. But I am very interested in the fact that you're going to try to explain to us toxic masculinity, and instead of using an actual person, you use a created person as an example. Biff from the Back to the Series trilogy. A dude who is specifically made to be the bad guy in all the movies. He's not a real person, my dear. He isn't real. Therefore, he cannot prove toxic masculinity, as he's not real. Oh, wait a second. Oh, yeah, no, of course he can prove toxic masculinity, because it's not real. Thanks for clearing that up. Yeah, no, it took me a moment, sorry.
This charming fellow is Biff from the Back to the Future series.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hello? Hello? Anybody home?
Hello? Hello, anybody home? Huh? Think, McFly, think!
Yep, a one-dimensional fictional character. Go on.
Okay, so let's start with the word masculinity itself. Very broadly speaking, masculinity is a set of behaviors and practices that have traditionally been associated with men and manhood in our culture.
I'm sorry, are you now mistaking masculine behavior with a form of aggressive behavior? Because it seems that you are.
And that includes both positive and negative things. Toxic masculinity, on the other hand, is a loose term that's used to refer to a subset of those behaviors which are harmful or destructive. It's often used as a sort of shorthand to describe behaviors linked to domination, humiliation, and control.
Yeah, the thing with masculinity and therefore toxic masculinity too is that they are social constructs, as you like to call them. And social constructs, in the way that you guys use them, are fluid, just like gender. The thing is that gender is biological, but social constructs like toxic masculinity are sociological at heart, maybe philosophical in a way. And they don't apply to a certain gender, but they can be applied to certain situations. And considering that toxic masculinity is a construct created by feminism to explain the negative behavior of, or rather, the behavior they deem negative of men, yes, toxic masculinity has a negative connotation, and it is to describe negative behavior by men. At the same time, though, this is basically used to damn certain concepts. Therewith, toxic masculinity is a form of aggression. But using the term toxic masculinity in itself is a form of aggression, because you basically try to nullify whatever someone is doing by describing what they're doing as toxic masculinity. And luckily, you're going to give an example based on a movie character designed to be disliked by everyone. Well done.
It's marked by things like emotional detachment and hypercompetitiveness.
Now, you're not talking about emotional detachment, you're talking about empathy. And there's a small difference in that. It's judging and recognizing the emotions in others, and then changing your course based on it.
Look, Biff, somebody already asked me to the dance.
Who? That bug George McFly?
I'm going with Calvin Klein, okay?
Calvin Klein. No, it's not okay. You're going with me, understand?
Get your cooties off of me!
When are you going to get it through your thick skull, Lorraine? You're my girl.
Though in this situation you could clearly state that what he's doing is being overly aggressive, you could also say he lacks empathy in the situation. He does not recognize how much she does not want to be with him. This is an issue. Yeah, of course it is. Most people aren't like this. Biff is only like this because he's written to be like this. Most people recognize this. This is not good behavior. Even the men acting like this will tell you this is not good behavior. Yet you think this is an example of toxic masculinity? I'm sorry, it's not. It's an example of a form of aggression, yes, but this is not typical male behavior.
Shut the fuck up for the 50th billionth time! If you'd fucking listen.
For example, yeah.
The MRA group. Can you
Why?
shut the fuck up for a second too?
Why are you making the allegation?
This is what MRAs are about.
To borrow a phrase you just used, the proof is in the pudding.
Here I'm giving you an example of toxic masculinity, as you call it, but then by the hands of a woman. There is a lack of empathy, there is basically aggression, and there's no way to listen to what the other person says because it does not suit their narrative. This is not toxic masculinity. It's toxic behavior, I can grant you that, but it has nothing to do with masculinity. This is why you are wrong. Oh, and Big Red, as she's often referred to, claims to be a feminist. But she doesn't listen to what other people say as long as it doesn't suit her narrative. Is this recognizable there? Because it should be.
It's also connected to the sexual objectification of women as well as other predatory sexual behaviors.
No, it has nothing to do with these things. But you adding these things in to justify your position that it is gendered, that it's a male versus female thing. It is not. But you cannot prove that it is. And I cannot disprove to you that it's not, kind of like the teacup around the sun. You cannot disprove that there isn't one, therefore it must be true. Do you recognize why this is basically flawed thinking?
You know you want me to give it to you.
Shut your filthy mouth.
I'm not that kind of girl.
Oh, well, maybe you are and you just don't know it yet.
It's also linked very closely with aggression, intimidation, and violence.
You want to take a poke at me?
Damn it, Biff.
The modifier toxic is used to highlight the fact that these kinds of behaviors carry with them some potentially serious and even deadly consequences. Much of this type of masculinity is relational, and as such, it's mostly defined in opposition to anything culturally associated with women.
Yeah, I knew you would go there, because you constantly do. This is not about male versus female. This is not even addressed towards women. This is addressed as any form of aggression to whomever it's addressed to. It can be towards men, it can be towards women. It's situational, it's not sexual or gendered. Hell, even in the examples you're showing me, I mean, there's a woman he's aggressing towards, fair enough, it's towards a woman. He's hitting a guy, or Marty McFly, fair enough, but he's not a woman. And he's dueling a guy, again, not a woman. This is not gendered. Why are you trying to make this gendered?
Which is why toxic masculinity is driven by this overwhelming fear of emasculation.
Yeah, I guess you're wrong about so many things that you don't even recognize it. You're just assuming. You know what they say about assuming, yeah? As, you, me, that one. Okay. The thing is, the behavior you're describing isn't toxic masculine at all. It's not even masculine, really. This is typical biological behavior. You see this in any social animal. If you look at a pack of wolves, you will have alphas, betas, etc., etc. If you look in a pack of, well, it's not called a pack, but anyway, a group of reindeer, a group of monkeys, any group of animal, you will have leaders and followers. And those that are in a leading position will defend their leading position any way they can. This is why, for example, in academia, you have people trying to outsmart other people. This is not physical aggression, but you can still see it as a form of aggression. This is normal behavior. This is how people dominate. Domination in itself is not a positive or a negative thing, it's a thing. This is what I showed you in the example with Big Red earlier. She's trying to dominate her situation. She's doing it in an aggressive way, but she's clearly trying to dominate. There are other ways of trying to dominate a situation. And this is this old saying: if you can't if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit. This is what you're doing. You're trying to baffle us with bullshit. You're trying to basically protect your position as an alpha in the situation where you think you can teach us what something is. But you're not teaching us. You're preaching to us. You're basically telling us this is what it is because I say you this is what it is. I'm not falling for it. And a lot of people are not falling for it. But why are you doing this? What's in it for you? Why are you basically selling us snake oil? But then again, I know, and we'll come to that in a second, won't we?
That is to say, the fear of being perceived by others as feminine and therefore unmanly.
Yeah, that's really not it. Maybe I should go to the part where you start selling us snake oil. Maybe that makes it all clear. I'll just speed up everything you're saying till then, shall I?
Many of the most popular male heroes in movies are depicted as engaging in at least a few of these toxic behaviors.
That's both.
They're actually framed as admirable displays of strength, power, and manhood. Anyone whose behaviors are not celebrated is often framed as acceptable or normal, and that's used as being nice or always being boys. Just to make sure there's no misunderstanding, I want to make something absolutely clear. This term is not a condemnation of men or manhood. Because again, toxic masculinity only refers to a particular set of harmful actions and cultural practices, and none of those behaviors are inherent or biological traits of men. There's nothing toxic about just being man, but some men do act in toxic ways. So in other words, toxic masculinity is not something that men are, rather it's something that some men do. Alright, so let's turn to our friend Biff here. Now Biff is an obvious social villain. He's a schoolyard bully, he's like a cartoon villain. His actions are easy to spot and understand as management, because really, toxic masculinity defines him as a character.
You heard, girls.
Every point you back to the future, there might as well be a giant neon sign hanging over your set that says, hey, this is the bad guy. So that's really easy. But things are really so clear-cut. In the real world, all kinds of men can participate in toxic masculinity, including seemingly normal guys who might also be nerdy or charming or witty or intelligent. Since toxic masculinity is a set of behaviors and not a biological trait, the real men who participate are not really one-dimensional character archetypes like Biff, and they usually don't do all of the things on the list. Okay, well, sometimes they do, but usually not the case. There's a mistaken impression out there that toxic masculinity means that everything about masculinity is semi-toxic, but that is not the case. In fact, the term toxic masculinity is used very deliberately to try to differentiate the more damaging or destructive male behaviors from more positive male behaviors. When it comes to this term, it's really important to understand that it's used to reinforce the fact that there are many different types and formulations of masculinity, or as Arthur puts it, different masculinities. And since there are many ways to practice masculinity, we as men can choose not to engage in the more toxic behaviors and instead choose to pursue more positive, empathetic, and cooperative forms of masculinity.
Yeah, you know, I am going to address this little thing. I'm not going to cut it out specifically, but how it's not a biological thing. You went full Macintosh on that because this is a biological thing. We see this in any animal out there. Well, at least any group animal. So you're wrong. This is a biological thing. We all show it in different ways. People who are stronger in certain fields will show it in the fields that they are stronger in. So yeah, there will be men basically brawling their way to life. And as I said, there will be men dazzling us or baffling us. You're one of those men who's trying to baffle us with bullshit. You're lying. You're actually telling us this is not biological. You're actually telling us there are no biological effects that cause men to behave in certain ways. When we know this isn't true. Why are you lying to us? But as I said, I would come to the snake oil right away, so here is the snake oil.
Now, we only just scratched the surface here, but I'll leave some links and resources in the box below if you want to learn more. I hope this video did give you a better understanding of this term and maybe help clear up some of the misunderstandings about it. If you'd like to see more videos related to media and manhood, just hop on over to my Patreon page and help fund the Pop Culture Detective Agency.
And there you have it. Your premise, toxic masculinity, which will be, of course, staved by some of the links you put in there, probably linking to gender studies, which we know are anything but gender studies. Unfortunately, in America, gender study is something that you will find within sociology on the feminist side of things, so it will, of course, prove their points, and as such, is useless. It's an echo chamber. You create a bias, and you confirm your bias with studies that, well, assume. And I already used the one on assume, didn't I? And this is the snake oil you're selling. And this is your pitch. You want people to pay you for saying these things, whether they're right or wrong. It doesn't matter. As long as people pay you for it, it must be true. This is a tactic you used before, not personally, but you were part of the Sarkeesian movement. And it worked out so well, so you're just hoping to repeat that. I guess Sarkeesian didn't need you anymore. She outgrew you or something. I don't know, I don't care. But you're defending the indefensible by asking people to pay you for it. And you probably won't argue with anyone because arguing doesn't suit the narrative. This is a very religious thing to do. This is why Christians don't like to talk to non-Christians about why they feel Christianity is true and why the non-Christians feel Christianity is not true. I'm not even talking atheists. I'm talking Christians and non-Christians. So it could be Muslims or could be Hindus or whatever. The same goes for every other religion out there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to bash on Christians on this. But this is a religious thing. My religion must be right because I feel it's right, therefore it is right, and I will prove that it's right, whichever mean I can. But anything that will prove my religion wrong, I will ignore or basically counter by saying that this is not true. And this is how you created this movie about toxic masculinity, which in itself, the toxic masculinity part, was created by feminists to explain why certain points that they have are wrong, but they don't explain that their points are wrong. They'll attack whoever points out that they're wrong. And one of the ways they attack is by labeling things toxic masculine. It's the same that when women disagree with feminism, it's because of internalized misogyny. Anything to protect the religion. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. I hope you enjoyed the little movie. Criticism, as always, is welcome. And you know, Macintosh, I probably don't have to expect you to respond. But if you do, I am willing to openly discuss toxic masculinity with you. Because there is a lot to be said about it. But none of what you said is true. And this is weird, don't you think? Anyway, see you all next time.